Hi there, my name is Orin Piercy. I would like to tell you a bit about the science, technology, environmental, and societal implications of hurricanes. Hurricanes are large rotating storms with fast winds that form over warm waters in tropical areas close to the equator. The scientific name for a hurricane is a tropical cyclone. In North America and the Caribbean, the term hurricane is used, whereas the Indian Ocean term cyclone is used. While, while in Southeast Asia, these storms are called typhoons. Let's learn a bit about the science of hurricanes. Hurricanes form over an area of warm ocean water. When the warm, moist air over the water rises, it is replaced by cooler air, creating a pattern of airflow. The cooler air then warms over the water and begins to rise. The cycle continues with air flowing upward, causing huge storm clouds to form. This next part is really cool. The storm clouds then start to rotate with the spin of the earth, thus forming an organized system. Hurricanes rotate counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere. This is due to rotation of the earth and is known as the Coriolis effect. Provided there is enough warm water underneath the forming hurricane, the storm will grow and rotate faster and faster until winds reach a very high speeds. Hurricanes are graded from category 1 to 5, depending on how fast the winds are moving. A category 1 hurricane has wind speeds around 75 miles per hour, whereas category 5 hurricane can have wind speeds up to as high as 160 miles per hour, and that's as fast as a high-speed train. Let's go over the different parts of a hurricane. At the center of a hurricane is the eye. The eye is an area of very low air pressure. There are no clouds in the eye and the wind is calm. However, the most dangerous part of the storm is at the edge of the eye, and it's called the eye wall. And this is where the clouds are very heavy and the highest wind speeds are. Hurricanes also have large spiraling areas of rain called rain bands. These bands drop huge amounts of rainfall and cause a lot of flooding. Hurricanes are huge storms. They can span a diameter of up to 1,600 kilometers. That's the distance from Kingston all the way to Halifax. The storm clouds can reach great heights up to 14 kilometers into the atmosphere. Hurricanes form in the Caribbean and Atlantic Ocean between June the 1st and November the 30th. Each year, and this period of time is called hurricane season. Hurricanes are dangerous because they cause huge amounts of damage once they hit land. Most of the damage is caused by flooding, as well as something called the storm surge. A storm surge is when the power of the storm actually causes the level of the ocean to rise up above the shore level. High-speed winds also cause damage by blowing down trees and damaging houses. Some hurricanes will develop in small tornadoes inside as well. Now let's talk about hurricane technology. First, we'll talk about technology used to track and predict hurricanes. Extreme weather is monitored by regional specialized meteorology. Now, let's talk about hurricane technology. First, we will talk about technology used to track and predict hurricanes. Extreme weather is monitored by regional specialized meteorological centers, which is a network of monitoring centers who work together to share information around the world. Hurricanes are monitored in two ways. The first is by weather satellites, which use different sensors to gather all kinds of information, including tracking visible clouds and air circulation patterns, rain volumes, and wind speeds. These satellites are also used infrared sensors to detect temperature differences within the storm, which help predict how severe it is going to become. The second way to monitor a hurricane is to get inside one. Literally, these crazy pilots are called the hurricane hunters, and all members of the 53rd Weather Reconnaissance Squadron from the Air Force Base in Biloxi, Mississippi. The fly-sturdy turboprop planes called C/130 Hercules straight into the storm. The planes have highly sensitive weather equipment installed on them that allow measurement of wind speeds, temperature, rainfall, and barometric pressures. Meteorologists back at the regional center take the satellite data and combine it with readings from the hurricane hunters and create detailed computerized forecast models. These models are called virtual storms and allow scientists to forecast a hurricane's path and intensity well before the hurricane hits land. This allows governments and news reporters to warn residents and help start evacuation of the coastal areas. This brings us to our next topic, which is the societal impact of hurricanes. One of the most famous and tragic stories about the societal impact of hurricanes was that of Hurricane Katrina. In order to learn about this, I chose to watch the documentary Trouble the Water, which follows the personal camcorder footage by Kimberly Rivers as she and her family tried to survive the hurricane when they were not able to evacuate New Orleans. The documentary tells the sad and shameful story of prejudice and neglect that thousands of African American residents of New Orleans' 9th Ward faced during the hurricane and its aftermath. The title of the documentary comes from the Negro spiritual "Wade in the Water," a song which was meant to give a secret message to escaping slaves to wade in the water as they fled so that dogs could not track them. Sadly, the same prejudice that faced African Americans during the slavery era showed itself again a century later in August 2005 when Hurricane Katrina struck. The order to evacuate New Orleans was sent just days before Katrina hit land, despite there being many city and school buses sitting around unused. No effort was made to help residents escape who were too poor to have cars drive out of the city. Many of the residents were trapped in their small bungalow houses and forced up into the attics, where they went days and days in sweltering heat without food or water. As the evacuation continued, hospitals were abandoned, administrators and doctors leaving patients alone with no care. Prisons were abandoned by wardens and guards, leaving prisoners chained together trying to get up onto the walls to escape the rising waters. And even one whole year after the hurricane, the documentary revisited the 9th Ward, showing that no effort had been made to provide funding to rebuild people's houses and repair roads and sidewalks, and all this despite the millions of dollars that it had been spent to rebuild the rich, tourist areas of New Orleans. The last topic I would like to talk about is the impact of hurricanes on the environment. While hurricanes can be devastating for plants and animal species, studying the environment has also given us creative solutions for lessening the damage caused when hurricanes hit shorelines. Hurricanes have profound impact on the ecosystem, affecting coastal habitats in many ways. High winds completely defoliate forest canopies, which then cause woodlands to dry out, hurting species that depend on cool, humid habitats. Animals can be directly killed by hurricanes, or indirectly damaged through loss of habitat or lack of food availability. Endangered species can be badly affected. For example, the Puerto Rican parrot almost became extinct when Hurricane Hugo passed through the country in 1989. Storm surges from hurricanes can move large amounts of sand and reshape the coastal landscape by causing huge loss of land. The loss of land from Hurricane Katrina alone was estimated to be over 100 square kilometers. However, scientists have discovered that nature has some interesting solutions that we can take advantage of to protect shorelines. Rather than building expensive seawalls that become eroded and crack over time, scientists have discovered that living shorelines consisting of oyster shells, rocks, and marsh plants are far more effective at lessening the impact of storm surges. Marsh plants break up and disperse the waves of storm, thus preventing the water from rising. They act like a natural sponge, absorbing the extra water without causing nearly as much damage. I hope you have enjoyed my presentation on the scientific, technological, societal, and environmental impacts of hurricanes. Here are a list of sources that I used. Thank you for listening.